The wild card round of the playoffs is over, not without some pretty significant surprises. And we are on to the division series. And Parker, we have a lot to talk about. That wild card series, albeit 3 games, but it was wild. A lot of things took me by surprise. But I got to ask you, because your Red Sox were in it, what was the biggest thing that surprised you over the last 4 days?
I was very surprised by Cam Schlittler and the fact that the guy throws like 101 miles an hour and he basically throws 75% fastballs and nobody can hit it. Or at least the Red Sox sure couldn't. Um, for a guy his age, what is he, 20? I think he's 24 years old, 24, maybe 25, to go out there and in like his 15th big league start, take them out against the Red Sox in Yankee Stadium in a do or die game 3 of the wild card series and just show no, like he didn't sweat a single bead. Like he was absolutely locked in. He was just blowing Red Sox hitters away with that fastball, keeping them very, very off balance. Nobody could catch up to it. Nobody scored any runs off of him. So it was very surprising, but also like in a respectful way. Like, wow, the Yankees have adjusted my outlook on them for the rest of the postseason because of the performance that Cam Schlittler just put on.
I'm really glad you said that because they had the same effect on me, and we're going to get to our predictions for the rest of the postseason here in a moment. But I want to ask you about your Red Sox. I know it's hitting you hard the last couple of days, and I know if you're like me, which I think you are, the end of the season you get like that like end of the season mini depression. It's
Mm-hmm.
a little different though. It's different when your team has no expectations and they don't go to the playoffs and you're just sailing off into the sunset. For you though, I know you had a little more hope that the Red Sox would do a little more in the offseason. It's got to hurt just a little bit more knowing, geez, if they just put up a couple more runs, we would still have baseball going on.
Yeah, if like Jaron Duran, I'm not, and I don't mean to put everything on Jaron Duran, but like if Jaron Duran makes a catch in left field against the Yankees in game 2, we could very well see ourselves with the Red Sox having already been moved on for a couple days, getting ready to play Toronto in the DS. And so, yes, it does suck. I, like you said, get this like mini depression every single offseason. As soon as it starts, it's like a cold feeling. Like I don't get to check the box score or I don't get to check to see when the game starts and put it on and listen to it while I cook dinner and stuff like that. Like that sucks. It's almost like it like breaks up my routine. Like it's a really big shock to my system when I can't just like look forward to the game every day. Um and the expectations, they weren't like, I did not expect the Red Sox to win the World Series. At the
Sure.
beginning of the season, I was much more hopeful. Like it was such a roller coaster because when you sign Alex Bregman, when you bring in Garrett Crochet, it's like, wow, this team could in a perfect world win a World Series. And then injury after injury after injury. So like expectations get tampered. You trade away Rafael Devers. You lose 6 straight games, starting one game after trading Rafael Devers. And it's like, all right, so this team is just in the dumpster now. And then Roman Anthony comes and he starts playing. And now it's like, okay, maybe there is hope. And then a little bit of a skid in September. So it's like so many different times during the season. I
Yeah.
had big swings of emotion. Making it to the playoffs, especially in the fashion they did on the Sadon walk-off triple, that was amazing. That I like legitimately almost blacked out when that happened. Like I jumped up and I was screaming, and my wife and kids were freaking out too. And then I had to like sit down real quick because I almost saw my vision like closing in. And to go from that high to then winning game 1 in the fashion they did against the Yankees in
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium, having so much hope. And then 27 hours later, I go from, wow, they could do this to, oh no, they just lost game 2. Maybe shouldn't have, depending on if, pop flies are caught and defense is played, to watching game 3 and watching the Red Sox kick the ball all around the field and lose the game on themselves. And it's like now it went from the best time ever to the offseason. And that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it super sucks. I feel for you. I think the only thing getting us through would be the fact that we have some really good baseball ahead of us. This is
Yeah, we do.
personally, for me, some of the most excited I've been for playoff baseball because these teams are really packing a punch. And I want to dive into how we think the rest of this postseason is going to go for the division series. We have Mariners Tigers. We have Yankees Blue Jays. We have Cubs Brewers. That's a delightful series right there. And then we have Dodgers Phillies, which is, you know, your annual Dodgers Phillies playoff series. What would be baseball
Mm-hmm.
would be nothing without it. So what I want to do is I kind of want to go through. You know what I just forgot to do? I forgot to tell you my surprise
I was
from
just
the
going to
wild card.
ask, what is your
Hello.
surprise from the playoffs, Anthony?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So my surprise, Parker, was as much as I was absolutely impressed by Cam Schlittler. Uh, I had more expectations for the Padres. I'm pretty disappointed on how they just got rolled over by the Cubs, more or less. Like they scored 5 runs in 3 games with an offense like that. I truly thought that was a Padres team that could get to the NLCS. That's a disappointment for Padre fans, particularly when you look at the 1, 2, 3 of their order, who none of them hit uh, anywhere into the high 100s. I mean, you can't have your 3 best hitters in your lineup hitting that way in a game, let alone in the postseason. So there's going to be some self reflection there in San Diego to figure out how to reinforce that lineup because they did not show up in that series, and it was a bummer.
Yeah, no, I almost texted you at one point, but I really like didn't want to jinx it because my pick was the Cubs. But I wanted to text you at some point and be like, where did the Cubs get all this pitching? Or something along the lines of like, how are the Cubs still getting pitching out of seemingly nowhere? Because they did it all season. We had no clue where they were going
Yeah.
to get the pitching from. And then, much like the Guardians, it's like, how are they somehow very good at pitching the baseball? And that was what did it for them. They were able to really hold their own against a very good Padres lineup. And then when you get a performance like you got out of PCA and the other guys in that lineup, it's like, yeah, I mean, the back-to-back home runs in game one from Seiya and Dansby, and it's like, oh, here we go. Like the Cubs are here and they are swinging the bat and they're pitching, and I don't know what the Padres are going to be able to do. It actually was surprising that it went to 3 games. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, just based on how the the first game and a half went. Yeah, I was kind of shocked. So let's stick on the Cubs for a second here because I want to start
Mm-hmm.
talking about these division series one by one. And what we'll do is at the end of our discussion on each, we'll kind of give our predicted winners here as we get through the postseason. But let's focus on Brewers Cubs. This is the first time, Parker, if you could believe it, that these two rivals are meeting in the playoffs, and you can bet the Midwest is super excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Craig Counsell's Cubs going back to Milwaukee. That's just I'm all about the stories. That's a great
Oh
story.
yeah.
Um, but what do you make of this series? Like, what are you most excited to kind of track through this 5 game series?
I think this is where we find out if the Brewers are actually legit. Like we've
Mhm.
spent the whole season being like, wow, look at this team performing. Look how well they've done. And I can't help but liken them to the Rays. And I'm not the first person to do so. Like everybody calls them the National League Rays. Everybody likens them to the Rays. But I wonder if their postseason runs are going to be like the Rays because we've seen in the past with the Rays that they do make the playoffs. They will make it almost every year. And you know, these last couple of years are kind of an outlier in terms of the last decade and a half of Rays baseball. But like they don't ever really dog walk anyone in the playoffs. They're you can't really write them in as a serious contender, mostly because they didn't ever had like a lineup that really and truly like popped at the right time. And the 2 times they did, the 2008 World Series when they had guess who, Evan Longoria doing like Ray's Ring of Honor, Ray's retired number type stuff. And then you had the Randy and Rosarena best postseason by a single player ever. And those are the 2 times they've made it to the World Series, both times losing. So unless we get like a career postseason performance from Yelly or any of those other bats in that Brewers lineup, I'm a little skeptical to really pick them in any series that they come up against, especially when the Cubs seemingly have infinite pitching out of absolutely nowhere, and they certainly have the more formidable lineup. So the thing that the Brewers have going for them is the fact that their rotation is very good. But I just don't know. I think that this Cubs lineup is has shown seasoning enough to
Mhm.
get to the bullpen and to do a lot of damage against them. So I think personally, I'm going to pick the Cubs again in this series.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why you picked them. That's fair. I think you bring up the pitching, and I think when you look at the rotation, these teams are actually quite similar. Where I think the only true ace in this whole series is Freddie Peralta, and that's
Yeah,
saying something, right? So,
that
like
is saying something. And
outside of
that's a
that,
big thing for the Brewers.
yes, yes. I mean, but behind him though, I have question marks, right? You have Quinn Priester. I
Mm-hmm.
think he can do great in a playoff game. However, after that, it gets there's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of uncertainty. You're looking at least a couple bullpen games potentially, a couple openers at two,
Mm-hmm.
3 innings. That's scary for me. And you have the Cubs rotation that in case you haven't heard, Cade Horton still going to be gone for the DS. That's a huge
Mm-hmm.
blow. He's not ready to come back. I mean, but then I look at this bad Padres series, and Shota, not bad, right? Jameson Tyone
Right.
came out of nowhere and was Jameson Tyone.
Yep.
So I don't know what to expect, which makes me think this will come down to the bullpen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Brewers have had one of the top relief cores all year long,
Mm-hmm.
but the Cubs, the last month of the season, were striking out over 30% of their batters. Like that is
Yeah.
so it's going to come down to a pitching battle of attrition, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I think that in the postseason, especially, we've seen so many times that it's not necessarily the best bullpen that wins; it's the hottest bullpen and the best
Yeah.
employed bullpen. And if the Cubs can keep riding the hot hand and performing the way that they have, I don't know. I think that the lineups are Cubs positive. The starting pitching I'll put as like net neutral, maybe a little Brewers leaning, because like you mentioned Freddie Peralta, but I don't know, because Quinn Priester to me seems like a 1.5 times through the order guy in the playoffs, and then you're
Yeah.
tanking your
Yeah.
bullpen, and then you need to tank your bullpen the next day because, like you said, it's a bullpen game most likely. So it's like, what is actually going to happen? I think over time we're just going to have so many factors stacking up against the Brewers that the Cubs just come out on top.
It's a fair argument, but you know what we're forgetting, and I think you know what I'm going to say because I'm a fan of this factor. I'm a vibes guy. I just love the vibes,
Mm-hmm.
and there's something about this Brewers team, man, with Pat
There
Murphy
is,
and his pancake pocket pancakes, and
with
like
home
they're
field
just here,
advantage.
man. Yes, and that ballpark, I'm telling you, they play so well at home, and that ballpark has
Mm-hmm.
all the energy. I think I still think I'm going with the Brewers in this series when you
Mm-hmm.
put it all together. I think when you think about the attrition of the pitching, I think they can outlast it. They had a great 3 game series against the Padres, the Cubs did. I still have question marks about the pitching, and the hitting is the Cubs hitting is just so streaky. Like they all
Yeah.
season have proved they can go 3 game series and hit bombs and score 15 runs in a series and then play another 3 game series and score 5 runs. So I don't know. I just have enough faith. I have more faith over 162 seeing this Brewers team do what they have done that if they have 5 games against any team, I still pick the Brewers.
Yeah. I also think that the Cubs are benefiting in a large way from Wrigley being not hitter friendly Wrigley. Wrigley being right
Mm,
now it's pitcher friendly Wrigley, as the wind's been blowing
good point.
into the ballpark from the outfield for the last better part of 2 years. And I think that they
Yeah,
have really been benefiting from that. And when you have starting pitching problems, what better way than if your ballpark's on your team too? So I don't know, just something to
right.
consider. Not necessarily a swing vote,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Good point. Good point. Um, Elsewhere in the National League, ooh, Parker, I think you and we get excited about this annual showdown between the Phillies and the Dodgers. This one just has a little bit of oomph behind it. The
mm-hmm.
Dodgers are looking to repeat. The Phillies are just always playing second fiddle to the Dodgers. What is going to happen this time around?
I think that due to this being kind of the last hurrah for this iteration of Phillies baseball, I think the Phillies are going to figure out a way to win.
Ooh,
Um, you have a guy, let me just tell you have a guy on that roster who leads the National League in B War. Do you know who it is?
I'm gonna say that is Kyle Schwarber.
Negative. That's
What?
Christopher
Really?
Sanchez.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Christopher Sanchez
No.
is leading the National League with 8 B WAR this season. He has
A
been
pitcher.
an absolute animal, and that's your game one
Wow.
starter. And after that, it
Wow.
doesn't get much worse. When you talk about a lineup that can do what the Phillies lineup can do, and you have
Mhm.
pitching coming at you like the Phillies do, Jordan Romano has looked pretty good as of late. Like, this Phillies team is just kind of built to win, and it has to be right now because everybody's gonna like retire or hit free agency or whatever by the end of the season. So
Yeah.
I think that this has to be it for the Phillies. Now, that being said, the Dodgers, I mean, you couldn't pick a harder opponent to go up against in a playoff series. Nobody has more pitching than the Dodgers right now. I mean, you have guys like Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. There's a rookie in there somewhere. There's even more guys I'm not naming, like is Glass now pitching? Maybe, who knows? But like, this Dodgers team is absolutely stacked to the gills. And not only that, but they just got like if you could tailor make a wild card series to give your team to play before going into one of the hardest series that they will play all season, it would be the one that the Dodgers just played against the Reds. They just mollywopped the Reds. It wasn't close at any point in time. The first hitter of the first game, Shohei Ohtani, hit a home run, and it was all gas, no brakes from that moment. So the Dodgers couldn't be riding higher. The lineup is clicking in a way that it hasn't even done throughout the entire rest of the season. So I don't know. I'm going Phillies. I'm picking Phillies mostly because I think it would be super sick to see this Phillies team make a run. We've already seen the Dodgers make a run. It's boring at this point. Let's see the Phillies get a chance and to go out there and see what they can do.
Well, yeah, I mean, in principle, I'm with you. I would love to see the Phillies do it. Nothing can make me happier to see the Phillies actually climb the mountain here and get past the Dodgers. However, um, I have a hard time picking against the Dodgers, and if someone were to
Yeah.
have me in a corner and say you need to make a decision and you need to do it objectively, I I don't know that I can give you a reason that it's not the Dodgers, and I think it's going to come down to between these two teams. You said it right. They both have really star power for star power offensively and defensively. I could probably make the argument offensively for the Dodgers, but I think all in all, it comes out in the wash. The pitching, though, to me, it's going to be about can you extend your secondary starters? And what I mean by that
Mm-hmm.
is I look at that second tier of starter. If you're struggling going into 3, 4 innings, do I like a Glass now, Kershaw, that group, or do I prefer a Walker Bueller, maybe Aaron No? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
gonna be how much length can you get out of the second tier rotation and out of your bullpen, and pound for pound, I think the Dodgers have a clear advantage there, and I, I I think that's gonna win the day because these offenses can go you know,
Yeah.
shot for
That's
shot
without a
with each
doubt.
other, no doubt about it. So, and then of course it's just Shohei Ohtani, man. It's just
Mm-hmm.
freaking. He's everywhere all the time, and he's going to be pitching in this series.
I
So I
was
didn't
just
even
gonna say
mention
he's
that
making his
yet.
pitching debut this series. Yeah.
Like, dude, like this guy, like it's an absolute like cheat code for everything.
Yeah,
It's
you're not wrong.
wild.
I don't think the Dodgers or the Phillies should be favored. I'm just picking them because for the vibes. Like, genuinely, that's the reason.
Yeah,
Um
no, I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. This
I don't
Phillies
know.
Dodgers
I don't know.
series is
We'll see.
probably the series to watch in this round for me. Um
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
got another one coming up that is also close to as explosive, I think, in New York and Toronto. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. As we go to the National, at kind of this Phillies Dodgers team is a team that's as close to evenly matched as you can get. And I would say so for the American League with the Blue Jays and the Yankees. And the Yankees, kind of you mentioned it earlier, Parker, are a team that I think surprised a few people in the wild card series. What do
Mhm.
you make of how they could carry that over into this division series?
Well, I mean, I did not expect the level of pitching dominance that I saw from the Yankees this wild card series. I mean, now granted, the Red Sox lineup, especially in its current form or most recent form, Not the most powerful lineup. I mean, Trevor Story hit a home run, and that was it for the Red Sox in terms of home runs this series. And the lineup really wasn't doing well to begin with. But when I saw Max Fried go out there, and I mean, what was it? 7 1/3? No, 6 1/3. 6 1/3.
630.
A trillion strikeouts, and then Rodon goes out there. I think he made it into the seventh as well. And then Cam Schlittler was in there pitching in the eighth inning. Like every single one of those guys came out and was absolutely spectacular. Like, I mean, sure, we know that the Yankees end up losing game one, but it had nothing to do with Max Fried. Max Fried couldn't have given them a better chance to win. So if you can
Mhm.
roll all three of those guys out and still have starting pitching in the tank, like they still have Will Warren and Luis Heel, who haven't pitched in the postseason yet, that can make starts for this team. So I don't know, man. Like if you have that much pitching, that much good starting pitching at your disposal in this now 5-game series, moving into a 7-game series if they make it to the CS, like yeah, I think the Yankees look really, really good in this series moving forward, and as much as it pains me, I gotta pick them. I think that the Yankees with the lineup, when the lineup can do what the Yankees lineup can do, and they didn't really do it against
Mhm.
the Red Sox, but I think they face starting pitching that they're not quite that is a higher caliber than the starting pitching they're going to go up against in Toronto. I think this lineup's going to explode. I think the pitching is going to be dynamic, and I don't know, man. Like I think Yankees in 3 or 4.
Wow, that's interesting. I also picked the Yankees, and now that I think about it, I don't think 3 or 4 is out of the realm of possibility. I know I look at the offense that I think could absolutely kind of turn the dial up a little bit, but I also look at what we always talk about as being the true differentiators when you get into the postseason: pitching and defense. And I think we
Yeah.
often forget about talking about defense. And so when you look at
Mm-hmm.
these two teams, the Blue Jays are considered really one of the better teams, defensive teams in baseball this year, right? And the Yankees, not so much. They've had their troubles this year defensively. You add that on top of the fact that the Blue Jays lead MLB with the lowest strikeout rate all season. Okay.
Uh,
They keep the ball in play. You force the Yankees to make tough plays. That could be a part of factor in this series. So I do think if they can keep the Yankees moving in the field, that would play to the Blue Jays. I do think when you look at that pitching staff for the Blue Jays, it's just not quite postseason pitching. It's just not. I'm not drafting that rotation to go pitch in a postseason series. I don't think they have that caliber that the
yeah.
Yankees do have, especially. So I can confirm it looks like that
After
it's going to be
Gossman,
Heel
like
in
who
game
is it?
one. It, Bieber. It's Shane Bieber.
Like Gossman, Bieber, and then Scherzer. I guess Barrios.
That's they have uh what's that the new guy's name? Yesvaj. Um
Oh, okay.
I'm
I don't know
blanking
how
on
to
his
say
name.
his
Like
name
he's
either.
literally only
Yeah.
pitched like a couple games.
Right.
But he would be in the mix as well. But again, comes back to that Yankee pitching that I think is still going to surprise everyone. It looks like Heel is going to go game one. It looks like Freed's
Yeah.
going to go game two. And
And now
if
you're back
you're
at the
going
top
into
of
a
the line,
game
the top of the
three,
rotation.
right, you're going back to Schittler with game three. That's quite a surprise. So I'm with you. I
Rodon
do
game
think that
three. So probably Fried
oh
Rodon
sure,
Schlittler,
yeah,
which
you're right.
again,
Yeah, I
like
think you're right.
nails, nails,
So,
and nails.
like the not your one, two, or third starter Heel in game one, and then have insurance the next 3 days is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Against a Blue Jays rotation that is literally the exact opposite of that. So
Yeah.
I think it'll take the Blue Jays to do something pretty spectacular to get through the Yankees, and I think you'd agree with that.
I think so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finalize a full blown like prediction. I'm going to say Yankees in 4, and I actually think the Yankees lose game 1. I think that Heel's not going to get like 7 innings into the game. Like the Yankees kind of need that from all of them because their bullpen has
Yeah.
been suspect. The only game that the Yankees lost in the wild card series was due to the bullpen coming in and blowing it. Fernando Cruz has already pitched in all 3 games. Bednar has already pitched in all 3 games this postseason. So like we're looking at a Yankees bullpen that could be seriously taxed, especially as this particular series moves along. So if Heel can't make it into the 7th inning or maybe even the 8th inning, I get worried about the strength of this bullpen moving forward. And if the bullpen does look bad, the only games I feel like the Yankees are going to win are the ones where Fried goes 7 innings and Rodon goes 7 innings, and then Schlittler maybe who knows, maybe throws a perfect game for all I know. But like,
Yeah,
I think that that's going to
yeah.
be if the Blue Jays win, it will again be the way that the Red Sox won Game 1 of the wild card, which is through the Yankees' pretty bad bullpen.
Mm, good point. Good point. Lastly, in the American League, a series that I'm just excited for because I like these two teams. I like what they've done all year, and this is going to be interesting. Mariners v Tigers. I don't know, Parker. Like, I'm going to start with the Tigers here because I still struggle with believing that they can make a deep run in the postseason because when I look at their pitching staff, I'm concerned about the most, even more than the Blue Jays, because it is
Yeah.
quite literally Tarek Skubal and as AJ Hinch says, pitching chaos after that. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where that's going to be put to the ultimate test in this series.
Yeah, I mean, if Skubal can go out and do what he did in Game 1 of the wild card, he won't be able to do it until what, Game 2 or 3 of the DS, probably Game 2. Um, I don't know, man. Like, if Casey Mize is starting playoff games for me, I'm scared. I'll throw it out there. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Casey Mize. You were a number 1 overall
Yeah.
pick at one point, but it just isn't it isn't really there. Um, so yes, I'm in the same boat. I can't wait for the Tarek Skubal start. Like, I'm going to watch every start this guy makes in the postseason. I hope that he makes more after this series, but I just don't know if he's going to because I don't think the Tigers are going to win this series. I think the Mariners are an absolute
Yeah.
force. I think we're going to finally start to see what we've been talking about for years, and seeing this Mariners starting rotation do what I just described as the Yankees surprising everybody by being able to do. But we've known that the Mariners have this weapon in their starting rotation for years, and we're going to finally see it deployed in a playoff series where you not only have maybe the best starting pitching rotation that we've seen in the last 2 decades in the playoffs, depending on how they pitch, but also a very good lineup front ran by who might be the American League MVP in Kyle Raleigh. And if he's not the American League MVP, at the very least, the guy who just put up the best season by a switch hitter ever. So I have to lean Mariners here. I want the Mariners to win the World Series. Like that, if I have to ride a team all the way through to the World Series, now that the Red Sox are out, I want it to be the Mariners. Shout out to my friend Justin. He's probably going to watch this clip later. Um, but yeah, no, he's excited. I'm excited. Mariners fans should be excited because this Mariners team, out of nowhere, seems like they're built to really succeed in this postseason.
Yeah, they sure are, especially in this series. Like they won up the Tigers in the offense with the starting pitching, and quite frankly, definitely more in the bullpen actually, because you got to remember they have a rested bullpen now, and in these tight games, the rested bullpen, I view it's an objective view or a subjective view, but I view that as better to have a rested bullpen. We can talk about getting the bye, helps or it doesn't. It statistically doesn't, since this structure of the playoffs last 2 years, teams that played in the wild card have been 6-6 in the division series. So there is statistically no truth to the advantage of having a bye. But having a rested bullpen, I think, is helpful,
Yeah,
especially when you have, like a Cubs and a Padres series where the starters weren't getting past 3, 4, 5 innings,
right.
as an example. So I do think the Mariners have an absolute advantage here. Can't wait to see Cal Raleigh in a playoff series. That's going to be very exciting. Um, so I'm going to have to go Mariners. I'm with you. It'll be very, very cool to see what the Tigers can do nonetheless. I do get worried that they're going to try to push Tarek Skubal on short rest, and I just don't love that. I don't.
All right. Well, there you go. There's your division series picks from late night baseball. You want to go ahead and
Oh,
predict the
man.
rest of the postseason bracket now and see how it shapes out from here?
Ooh, let's do it. So, Parker, just to sum up for the division series, you had Mariners, Yankees, Phillies, Cubs. So,
Mm-hmm.
who do you have in the championship series?
So my championship series, my division series winners being that who is going to play in the championship series be the Mariners and the Yankees. I have the Mariners coming out of that for all the reasons I just described. I think that they have a much more rock solid foundation. Like, you're still at the end of the day leaning on Cam Schlittler and Luis Heel and other inexperienced arms like Will Warren to really perform above what you really counted on. I think the safer bet is that Mariners rotation, and then the Mariners lineup. I don't think I would take it over the Yankees, but like, it's close. Like, I have to consider it.
Yeah.
And then I just think that if you're going to be pitching with the pitching that the Mariners have in the ballpark that they tend to play in, I think you're going to see some fireworks from that team. So I got the Mariners over the Yankees, and then I got the Phillies over the Cubs because I think the Phillies are. I think this is as close to being their year as it's going to get. And then you know, we'll wait for the World Series. Who do you have? Who do you have winning the championship series? Who's in your World Series?
All right. So what I have is I have the championship series being Mariners Yankees like you. I agree. I think the Mariners are the superior team, and I'm riding the vibes. So I'm going to go Mariners in the World Series. I do think the Dodgers, as I said, will prevail over the Phillies. I think the Brewers will win over the Cubs, making it a Dodgers Brewers NLCS, which is actually kind of a wild matchup in an NLCS. However, still, Parker, I cannot go against the Dodgers unless I am proven otherwise. And down the stretch, they are just fire, offense, defense, bullpen, you name it. So I'm going Dodgers over Brewers in the NLCS, meaning my World Series is Mariners Dodgers.
So we both have the Mariners in the World Series, which if you'd
Yes.
asked me in spring training, I would not have done. I don't think I did.
Oh, hell no. No.
No, but this team seems like they're very good.
So Mariners Phillies, who do you got today?
I got Mariners, man. I got Mariners.
You're
I
right in the
think that
Mariners.
I am. I think that starting rotation, I think we're about to see something magical from them. I think it's going to be so hard to hit against that team. So I got the Mariners winning the World Series.
Interesting, interesting. I'm just gonna ride my very dorky opinion that no one's gonna like, and that is, I think the Dodgers are going to repeat since for the first time since the Yankees three-peated in 2000, and I think they're gonna take it home. This team is just too good. I just I don't think there's any better offense in this postseason right now. I think the pitching is far superior. I think they're piecing it together. And if I'm any other team, I'm mildly freaking out going out against the Dodgers. Just am.
Hmm. All right. Well, that's interesting. There you go. So your late night baseball World Series picks. I've got the Mariners. Anthony has the Dodgers. I guess we're going to see how that works out.
Yeah, I don't like my pick at all, but I'm just keeping it real. I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it. Here we go. National League American League Division Series starts by the time you watch this, either
It
tomorrow
starts
night or
the
tonight.
night.
But it's
Yeah.
coming.
The night.
It's
Yeah.
coming. The night. It's happening tonight. So we'll be here late night baseball, recapping it obviously as it happens. So next week, next time you hear from us, we'll probably be halfway through the series. So catch you then.